Well, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming here today. This is overwhelming, to be honest with you. I had no idea. I knew I had a lot of friends here and a lot of people that I worked with. Everybody here was absolutely amazing. Not everybody knew who I was, but every now and then I got to walk through the registrar's office. And, I usually have smiling faces. I have to apologize. I got introduced to the entire registrar thing frequently, and then I came back and I didn't remember that many of the names, so I got introduced again. I really do appreciate it. They're great problem solvers. I want to just say a few words about my experience there, and it'll be very few, but I'll tell you about my first day. Actually, I was, a little bit before the first day, I was retired from the federal government. Not totally enjoying it, but reasonably happy, and I was laying in one bed one morning, as retirees tend to do, about 9 o'clock. And the phone rang, and it was, got her name now, but it was a woman from Anne Arundel saying, "Would you like a job?" And I said, "Is it full-time or part-time?" She says, "Full-time." I said, "No." And she said, "Well, would you just come out and talk anyway, and just talk about it?" But I did, and I ended up in a full-time job at Patuxent as a lab manager, and that brings me to the first day, because I reported out there I'd been in a prison once in my life. When I was a kid in grammar school, they took our class for a tour of Kilby Prison in Alabama. You don't want to be there. And they took us through a tour of that, and the Kilby Prison had an electric chair. And they took us in to see this electric chair, and I knew that right off the bat I was scared straight. So they said, "Do anybody want to sit in it?" And I said, I'm thinking, our electric at home was pretty shaky, and things shorted out every now and then. I said, "I'm not getting any electric because I don't know what the wiring's like." But anyway, the next time I went was at Patuxent. I went down the first day, and I said, "I'm here, and what do you want me to do?" And the principal says, "Whatever you want to." I said, "Well, that's pretty interesting. Well, I come as a lab manager. Can you show me where the lab is?" "Well, we don't have a lab." That's even more interesting. And I said, "Well, where are the students?" And they said, "Well, we got a list, but you have to call them down." "Well, how do I call them down?" "Well, you just fill out a paper and turn it in to the officer, and they'll call them down." So I had the first meeting, and there were 24 people, I guess they had selected prior. And I remember one kid in the back of the room, they were pretty young, says, "How much work is involved in this?" And I said, "Well, this is college, so there'd be a good bit." And he said, "Will there be any homework?" I said, "Well, you're at home." I said, "Well, yeah, there will be, probably." And he said, "Well, I'm out of here." So he got up and went out, and did about 3 people, and they got up and went out. Well, I went back pretty discouraged, and this makeshift little office they had. And this young man comes in, inmate comes in and says, "Please don't leave." And I said, "Well, I have to admit I was thinking that after that experience." He said, "Please don't leave." He says, "We need this more than you can ever imagine." And so I stayed, and that's what the program accomplished over all these times, is these guys that didn't have much hope of obtaining an education were able to obtain an education. I made a few gaffes. I know our political heroes pay dearly for gaffes. Fortunately, I didn't have to. But I remember after a particularly hard day one day, I says, "Wow, I've just had my fill of this place. I got to get out of here." And this young man in the back of the room says, "You think you got to get out of here?" I've been here 20 years. You're tired of it after 8 hours? So I'm going to make that one again. But these young men and women, like he showed, there's about 10% women there. I think we actually graduated better than 10% of the graduates were women. It was a wide ethnic background of people. I found almost without question they were respectful. They treated me like gold. Sometimes I got upset, and I thought maybe I wasn't sure how they were going to treat me the next time, but they always came back the next day, and sometimes even apologized when it wasn't their fault. Their zest for learning is actually unbelievable, and I am really quite sorrowful and disappointed that the state and the federal government have chosen to cut off all funding for correctional education at the college level. A GED is everything now. They supposedly were going to replace college education with vocational, but there's really very little vocational. I feel quite mixed emotions about leaving there, because I hope somewhere down the road somebody in the powers that be in government can realize the good, and these two men back here are a testament to the good it can do. They're now productive citizens. They pay taxes. It costs somewhere between $35,000 and $40,000 a year to keep any one inmate at Patuxent institution. Any small amount of money which was spent on educating these young men like this is money well spent, and the short-sightedness of our government sometimes is absolutely amazing to me. People say, well, you know, we had to pay for our kids, why should we pay for their kids, and this and that. I'm not the judge, I wasn't a jury. People are getting out, that has nothing to do with me, but they're getting out, and it's very beneficial for society to provide the means to keep them out and to make them productive citizens. And once again, I think these two guys should have a round of applause. Again, thank you all very much for coming here. I greatly appreciate it. It's beyond my, I'm not going to say that, but it's great. I appreciate it. Thank you.
We have refreshments.